Welcome to today's episode of Learn English with Alexa, the podcast where we dive deep into how to improve your English skills. I'm your host, Lily, and I'm here with my co host, Mike. Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey, Lily. I'm doing great. Excited for today's topic. We're talking about one of the most important skills in learning English, improving your listening skills. It's something a lot of people struggle with, right?
Absolutely. Listening can be really challenging, especially because native speakers talk so quickly, and there are so many different accents. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Today, we're going to share some practical tips, and we'll also talk about our own experiences. So, Mike, what would you say your current English listening level is?
Great question. Honestly, I'd say my listening level is pretty high. I can understand most things in conversations, podcasts, and movies, but I still sometimes struggle with certain accents, especially when people speak really quickly or use a lot of slang. How about you, Lily?
I'd say I'm pretty comfortable too, but just like you, I find accents can throw me off sometimes. I prefer British English personally. It's what I'm most familiar with, and I like how clear it sounds, especially in the media I consume. What about you, Mike? Do you have a favorite accent?
Oh, that's an interesting one. I think I actually prefer American English. I've watched a lot of American movies and TV shows, so it just feels more natural to me. But, to be honest, I've been making an effort to listen to more accents, like Australian and British, just to challenge myself.
That's a good approach. The more variety you expose yourself to, the better your overall listening skills will be. It's important to train your ear to different accents and speeds. Let's talk about some strategies for improving listening. For me, one thing that really helped was listening to podcasts. What do you think, Mike? How do you use podcasts to improve your listening?
I love podcasts. They're such a great way to practice. I listen to podcasts in English every day, and I focus on content that interests me, like true crime or interviews with interesting people. I think this makes listening feel less like a task and more like entertainment. I also rewind when I don't understand something and listen again. It helps me catch the words I missed.
I agree. Podcasts are awesome because they can match any level of difficulty, from beginner to advanced. For beginners, I'd recommend podcasts where the host speaks slowly and clearly, like the English We Speak from the BBC. But for advanced learners, you can try more casual conversations like The Daily by the New York Times to get used to faster speech and more complex vocabulary.
Exactly. And another great tip is to use transcripts when available. It really helps to see the words as you listen. You can pause, read along, and then listen again. Over time, your brain starts connecting the sound to the written word.
Totally. One more tip I'd add is to practice active listening. That means focusing on understanding the message, not just catching individual words. Try to get the main idea first, and then fill in the details. And if you can, try shadowing, where you repeat exactly what the speaker says, matching their pace and intonation.
Yes, shadowing is such a powerful technique. It helps with pronunciation too. And for people who are more advanced, watching TV shows or movies without subtitles is a great challenge. But if you find that difficult, you can always start with subtitles in English first, and then gradually remove them.
Great tips, Mike. So to sum up, here are a few key strategies for improving your listening skills. 1. Listen to podcasts and videos in English, focusing on content that interests you. 2. Use transcripts or subtitles if needed. Practice active listening and try shadowing to improve pronunciation. 4. Gradually challenge yourself with different accents and speeds.
Exactly. And remember, improving your listening skills takes time and consistent practice. So don't get discouraged if it feels tough at first. Keep practicing, and soon you'll notice a big improvement.
Now we're going to discuss some key vocabulary and techniques to improve your English listening skills, especially when listening to podcasts.
Exactly. So, let's start with some comprehension related vocabulary. First up, we have understanding. It's all about grasping the meaning of what's being said, right?
Yes, and the main idea is the central point of what's being discussed. In every podcast episode, there's usually one main message or theme, and the details are the smaller pieces of information that support the main idea. Those little facts help complete the picture.
And the guest is someone invited to speak or contribute to the podcast. Guests often bring new perspectives.
Right. Then there are key phrases, which are important expressions that help convey meaning or emotion. Exactly. And inference is another important concept. It's all about reading between the lines, understanding something that isn't directly stated but is implied. Right. And when you're focusing on specific details, that's focused listening. You might be listening for numbers, names, or key facts.
Now, let's talk about some strategies to help with listening. One useful strategy is contextual guessing. If you don't know a word, try to guess its meaning based on the surrounding words. And listening for keywords can be a game changer. Focus on important words like names, dates, or places that often carry the most meaning. Absolutely. And if you're watching a video podcast, visual cues, like gestures or facial expressions, can provide extra context.
Another effective strategy is in transcription. Writing out what's being said word for word can really improve accuracy. Of course, subtitles are helpful too. They match the written words with the spoken content, making it easier to follow along. Right. And when you're focusing on specific details, that's focused listening. You might be listening for numbers, names, or key facts. And then there's repetition. It's great to listen to the same content multiple times to improve your comprehension. Also, note-taking is a fantastic way to reinforce what you've heard. Writing down key points can really help solidify your understanding. Now, let's talk about some pronunciation. One thing to consider is accent, which refers to the way someone pronounces words based on their region or country. And intonation is all about the rise and fall in pitch when speaking. It helps convey meaning, emotion, or emphasis.
Yes. And then there's enunciation, which is how clearly someone pronounces their words. That's important for understanding, especially in fast-paced conversations. And slang, informal language, is often used in casual speech, especially in podcasts aimed at younger audiences.
Right. And don't forget about pace. Some people speak very quickly, while others may slow down their speech, making it easier to understand. Some episodes are quite complex with advanced vocabulary or intricate ideas, while others are casual, using more relaxed and conversational language. Sometimes the language can be formal, especially in professional contexts. But in podcasts, informal or casual speech is often more common. And that's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening, and we hope you found these tips helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to Learn English with Alexa for more language learning advice. Until next time, happy learning.
Take care, everyone. Keep listening and keep improving.